Inner Quest explores various pathways through which you can connect with the infinite wisdom of the universe and apply it to personal, professional, and spiritual growth. This program, featuring accomplished practitioners, educators, and authors, is provided by Infinity Foundation, an innovative center for holistic studies and research. We invite you to share this journey with us.
Hello, welcome to Inner Quest. My name is Jay Stone, your host for today, and our two guests are Alyse Rynor and Prem Glidden. Welcome, Alyse and Prem. Prem and Alyse are holistic healers, practitioners, so we recently interviewed you on the Infinity Benefit, but this is not the same interview. We're going to talk about your healing professions. Alyse, why don't you talk about the type of work that you do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I basically do life enhancement counseling. I'm considered a holistic health counselor, and I have a background as a social worker, a therapist. And what I do is work with people on a whole person level. That's body, mind, and spirit. What I like to do is oftentimes people will go for body work, and a lot of issues will come up for them. And having somebody with a safe place to process that out can be a very helpful thing when they're going along with their own healing.
Now, do you do the body work, or do you have somebody else doing the body work?
No, I don't do the body work. Many times people will come from having another practitioner and use me as support. That's one aspect of what I do is work with people on counseling, and I've been doing psychotherapy for 15 years.
And where did you get your psychotherapy training?
I went to Loyola University, Chicago.
Hey, I'm a Loyola Master's alumnus as well. Good. And so talk a little bit about how you segued from traditional psychotherapy into this holistic counseling.
Okay. Well, I think it's interesting you call it segue, because I think for me personally, what I was doing for the past 15 years was hiding the holistic part of myself as I worked in more mainstream.
Did you work in like hospitals, clinics?
I worked in a family service agency for about 7 or 8 years, have done some other work, and I also spent a number of years working as a social worker in hospice. But finally decided that I was ready to go out and really use my gifts of helping people in a more holistic way.
And what do you consider your gifts?
Well, counseling is one gift. I so enjoy helping people, guiding them, supporting and empowering them to become their authentic self. That feels like a mission that I have to help people. I believe it brings greater peace to the world when people are real and who they really are. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering again. Ask the question.
I don't remember. Well, let's just go talk to Prem. And Prem, talk about your work. Actually, you've had some interesting careers before you got into your work. Do you mind touching on what you used to do prior to
No,
your
not at
current
all.
profession?
Actually, even before, my original career was actually in nursing, which lasted a very short time because after working for a year on a labor and delivery floor, I was so horrified by what I saw, which was a teaching hospital in the 1970s in downtown Baltimore, that I ended up moving to Arizona and becoming a midwife. And at that same time, I had moved into an ashram, and I was practicing and teaching yoga and meditation, and through that got very interested and involved in natural, organic, sustainable agriculture growing that became a passion of mine as well. And so one of my one of my hats that I wear for the last 20 years, I owned a sales and marketing company for natural and organic products that I had started with my ex-husband. And that grew out of, we actually lived in Alaska for 10 years growing food organically.
Well, I just saw the movie Into the Wild.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I have not, although I do know the story. But
Yeah.
I lived in Fairbanks, so I was in Fairbanks for almost 10 years. So, you know, at the sale, I was kind of wearing both hats of being in the natural and organic world and also being in the healing world. I've always kind of had an intuition in my hands, and so being a midwife was just very natural for me. And as
So
I said,
would you help with home births?
it's exactly what I did. I delivered over 100 babies over the years, and so yes, actually
Some of
primarily
those babies have probably grown up and had babies of their own.
Exactly. So yes, and so what happened is as I moved to Chicago, we started the company. This was in 1989. I kind of took a break from doing my healing work for a while, and we got very involved in the organic and natural industry, and which is kind of exciting. It was before Whole Foods was here, and so we really got to be pioneers and people who actually, our values matched what we were trying to share with the world and share with people.
Did you work with the farmers as well?
We did. So we really did a lot of worked with buying clubs and working with local producers, and I personally got involved in that whole local farmer markets, and so all of those areas were.
And so when you work with your clients, you try and encourage them to buy and eat organically?
Always. I mean, now my main focus, a couple years ago, I think I had mentioned to you, at one of the Infinity Foundation benefits, I met Dr. Darren Weissman, who was the founder of the Lifeline technique, and I just was so really loved his process and what he talked about in his book, The Power of Infinite Love and Gratitude, that I started studying with him and became a certified Lifeline practitioner. And that's so now I wear both hats. Primarily my healing practice, although I'm trained in I'm a licensed massage therapist. I'm trained in craniosacral therapy and Hawaiian energetics. Most of my clients now I do Lifeline work with. And then the other hat I wear is I also do consulting. Now I no longer own the company. I was bought out about 6 months ago, and so I am doing consulting in the natural and organic world. So kind of wearing both hats.
Okay. Now, did your training and experience as a nurse help you do massage therapy, craniosacral therapy?
You know, I think it's certainly just having studied the body and the anatomy and physiology is always, I had to repeat some of that in massage school, but I think I like that as a foundation. I know when I'm doing work with somebody that I know exactly where each muscle is, and I feel like it does just give me a better knowledge of the body. So absolutely, I think that was really, it's all, I think everything we do always kind of adds to our puzzle of who we become. So
okay. Now, Alyse, do you, because you're working with the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, do you ever get into dietary issues with your clients?
Well, I actually do. That's a unique piece that I bring to the work that I do, and what makes it more holistic is that there's a correlation between how a person feels and the kinds of food that they're eating. But even in addition to that, what I find is that people, when they're feeling good about who they are, will make healthier choices. And so I work with them together in reconnecting with themselves, in feeling good about who they are, and in learning how to take better care of themselves. Sometimes I start with people purely on what I call the integrative nutrition approach. And because when diet changes, everything changes. And I will often start with people that way, people who are interested in losing weight, people who say, I've been trying these diets, they're not working for me. And I'll start that way, and people will find that automatically other areas of their life start to change and shift, and then we'll progress from there.
Now,